Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Gear at Players Sports. We have a special episode today, a special guest here. We have James from Kookaburra to talk about all the new stock and the new stock that's coming in for the new season. So welcome.
Welcome, James.
Thanks for having me.
Firstly, before we get into the new stock and the Kookaburra gear, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Kookaburra?
So I came over from the UK 2015-16 as a player coach. Started working at Kookaburra back into 2016, kind of early 2017. I am the key account manager and one of our brand managers for one of our export categories.
Nice. You said player coach there. Do you still play now, or do anything around
I
that?
did up until last year. However, just had a young child, so more
Wow.
coaching than playing
Congrats.
now. Thank you.
So just talking about yourself again, how do you find that balance by doing all of the business side of things, admin, and then also raising that young family of yours?
A work in progress. As I was chatting with Ty, so he's got a young boy as well. It's they don't teach you these things, and you just kind of roll with the punches and see.
Exactly.
Learn as you go. If there was a manual, we certainly didn't get one. So we just work on through it pretty much.
As they say, parenting is the hardest job. Well, we'll get straight into it. What is the most exciting thing for you with the new Kookaburra gear that's coming in?
I think it's exciting every year, right?
Yeah.
Because whenever we design a range, we design it for that end user. So I firmly believe in our range that if we talk about our natural material products like our cricket bats, there is a bat for everyone. Each of our bat silos does do a different thing, it is for a different player. So I think the most pleasing thing this year has probably been the Shadow and Kahuna range.
Yep.
So obviously the Kahuna has been the same shape since 20 plus years and was obviously designed in partnership with Ricky Ponting. But obviously this year we have kind of modernised the shape, removing the spine going away through to the toe. So it still has a really long middle, still a high middle bat, but with a more modern shape. And then the other one would be the Shadow. Obviously it's still our square toe profile bat sort of thing, but it's not the duckbill anymore. It kind of dovetails nicely with the ghost shape. So it's slightly higher swell. Obviously the ghost is mid to low, Shadow is mid. So those have been the two kind of pleasing things from our kind of natural willow range. But it is just coming down to that ethos of the brand that we provide, and an option for everyone in that regard.
Yeah, and is that the same going into the batting gloves, the batting pads, or keeper gloves, etc.?
It is, yes. It is, yeah. So for instance, like our Ghost range is obviously more traditional, sausage finger, full level protection. These your kind of split fingers, high density foams, they're kind of a bit more malleable.
Yeah. So everyone has a preference and everyone has a likely that they could get from Kookaburra.
Yeah, and especially in our pads, obviously we run our three ranges the whole way through. So obviously I have a classic range, we have which is called the replica, and then we have our lightweight, and then we have our slim fit. So for instance, the athlete has maybe gone up but not gone outwards yet, then needs that kind of narrow fitting pad, we'll have something for everyone.
Yeah. Just going back on past cricket bats, I did know that we used to have a few limited edition and players bats. Will we be seeing any of that in the upcoming season?
Yep. So you guys have ranged obviously the Labuschagnes.
Yep.
So obviously Marnus' shape, which is short blade, slightly longer handle, so 15mm shorter blade.
Yep.
So it's something we incorporate into our range bats as well at certain price points. But with Marnus' bat, it's basically a way of just saving wood. Obviously we're working with a natural material, so you're saving 15mm of wood in the blade, depending on the handle, which means overall the bat is lighter. So it's roughly about an ounce. But again, when we talk about the player wants a bigger bat for lighter, it's one way of doing it. And as a brand, we will look to offer supply ranges, where the bat is maybe slightly narrower, or the handle slightly longer, be shorter. One thing we will never do that is done elsewhere is obviously bevel the edges, so where the front edge is wider than the back edge, because it's creating a point of weakness.
Yeah.
So I think it's finding that happy medium between you can't devalue the product and make it inferior, but still creating something that is going to be lighter and bigger for the end user.
Just going on the handle of a cricket bat, why would someone want a longer handle compared to a shorter? Because you said Marnus had a longer handle. Yeah.
So that, for him in that regard, it is very much a weight thing, I believe. So obviously by making the blade 15mm shorter, it's just up here, and the handle 15mm longer, so compared to a standard short handle bat, which that will be, you're talking very, very small differences there.
Yeah.
But that saves about an ounce, which means the bat itself and the blade where it matters can be bigger.
Yeah.
So this may be a 2/8 and that may be a 2/8, but this will be a lot bigger and a lot fuller, so less concaving. So that's just something that he's looked to do, and it's something that we also employ on our supply ranges and a few other ranges that we run as well.
In terms of grips, does that have any major part, or is that just down to preference, down to feel again?
A lot of it's down to personal preference. Obviously, there are thicker grips and thinner grips.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any necessarily better grip or poorer grip in our range. It is just down to that player preference. But again, being one of the largest brands, we want to offer the most, so the end user has the most choice.
Yeah. Would you say if someone has a pink grip, they play better? Because obviously you look good, play better.
How can I answer that? I would like to say that cricket attracts interesting people who can be quite superstitious.
Yeah.
There are some athletes that genuinely believe if they have a certain sticker on their bat, they perform better than not. The bat will be the same. The bat will be exactly the same, exactly the same shape, but they have preference over one sticker or not.
Yeah.
I don't believe it increases the performance of the bat at all. It is the same bat, but it's very much that confidence in the player, which is why a lot of players work with us, because they have confidence in the brand and what we provide to them.
I do see some of those superstitions, especially in batters. They like to do a little batting routine before they face every ball, and sometimes that gets quite long. Just from your knowledge, is there any like players that you've seen that have a really long or outgoing batting routine?
Not that I remember from the professional game. From a superstition aspect, there's lots of kind of stories throughout the years. Neil Mackenzie of South Africa is probably quite a famous one. So before going out to bat, his teammates taped his bat up on top of the ceiling, and he went out and got 100. So for the remaining of his innings after that point, he would tape his own bat to the ceiling because he believed this would give him an advantage. As I say, cricket, it does attract those superstitions.
Tell us more about just that brand itself, Kookaburra. How did it all start, or what's the origin story of?
So it's a really interesting story. So obviously we've been around since 1890. So A.G. Thompson, who was a saddler, if I do the story just. So obviously we are a ball manufacturer. So that's what we've done. So he came over from Sussex to Australia and started manufacturing balls back in 1890. So he was a saddler, leather worker. And then I believe around the 1980s we started to manufacture cricket gear. So for a long period of time we were just a ball manufacturer, and obviously a hockey ball manufacturer as well. And then around kind of the 1980s, slightly earlier, we went into the manufacture of cricket product. Dean Jones was our first sponsored athlete, I believe, which actually in partnership with him, as long as I did the story just, were how we have certain things like the sweat tab band on a batting glove. That was him in partnership with Kookaburra. But obviously, still a family-owned company to this day, two families. Whatever it is, 135 years on.
Yeah, I did not know they were that old.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
The family aren't.
Yeah.
So that's why even on the ball now, you'll see A.G. Thompson on one side of the ball.
Oh, yeah, good to know.
I would have noticed if I touched the Kookaburra as well.
That's
But you've touched on sponsored athletes that you guys sponsor. Can you talk more about who you sponsor and kind of?
So as a brand, we sponsor. From a New Zealand perspective, I'll speak to. We sponsor straight from the grassroots to the high performance of the game. So that's New Zealand cricket, every major association in New Zealand, every district association, and players and clubs. So from a player perspective, our partnerships at international level, you've got obviously Tom Latham, Tom Blundell, Matt Henry, Michael Bracewell, Nathan Smith, quite a few others, and then kind of our younger ones kind of coming through. Your BJ Jacobs, also made his debut last year, and Mohammed Abbas as well. He's really exciting young cricketers who are kind of getting to the forefront now and the next level, the next kind of generation of black cap.
Wow.
And obviously in the female game as well, we sponsor a lot of white fans and work with a lot of white fans. Obviously Sophie Devine would be kind of our principal player, who's kind of actually played hockey for New Zealand as well.
Damn.
And she's kind of transcended the whole way through, was a Kookaburra hockey athlete and then cricket the whole way through. Maddie Green, Izzy Gaze, Molly Penfold, to name but a few.
Awesome.
You can also say their talent is dependent on Kookaburra, so they get all the talent from the Kookaburra, I reckon.
I believe. I think as a brand and as a manufacturer, it's important that we provide them with the gear that allows them to showcase their skill set.
100%.
So if we talk around the female game, there's lots of things that we'll do in, say, the slim fitting pad, split finger gloves, different sizings. Obviously, similarly to your range here that goes 4.0 slim fit range, it is very important as a brand perspective to provide them with kit that does fit them, and especially from a female perspective, that is key.
100%. So obviously Kookaburra was a ball manufacturer to begin with. Can you just explain the difference between the 4-piece and the 2-piece ball?
So there's lots of different types of 4-piece balls. We have 3 different types of 2-piece. So it's just 2 halves of leather joined together. These 4. Be a 4-piece ball. So your Bella ball, like your turf, regulation, Senator Club match, are 4 pieces of leather joined together. But obviously is a skill that is not easily learnt. And that, obviously we benefited from 135 years of experience of making balls and dealing with suppliers and being at the forefront of the game and manufacturing that. Obviously it is a key part of the game because you can't play it without a ball.
100%, do not play. I do see some bowlers, they do have preferences of the balls because they get a selection of a ball before a game. Because that's obviously, they're handmade, correct? Yeah. So just like the bats, just like everything else, all handmade, so nothing's exactly the same, so there's a preference to each one.
Yeah, so a lot of bowlers, so for instance like Matt Henry, now I believe picks for the test match side when he plays. Lots of bowlers will look for different things, whether the ball is darker, the seam feels a little bit different, whatever it may be. There's lots of, I guess, similar to the batting superstitions, bowler superstitions as well, that they believe the darker ball may swing more, for instance, or this one has a slightly thicker seam. Whether there is any kind of note to that, they'll be able to tell us.
So in store we get a lot of customers when they come in, shopping for bats. They're always asking around the difference between like a 6-grain bat and a 10-grain bat. Can you just elaborate more on kind of the differences there?
Yes, there's a lot of misconception around grains. Obviously, the overarching theme is the more grains you have, the softer willow it is, the harder it is. There's many benefits and kind of downsides to that. So for instance, if we're going to our player replica, Ghost Pro players, that's grade 1 plus wood. So obviously it has a certain look to it and criteria that we have to meet for it to be that grade of wood. You may find a 1.0 or a 2.0 that may be downgraded because of a knot or a fleckle or kind of a grain that's running off the edge. It's purely cosmetic. So for instance, if you look at a knot, so a knot is a point of strength. So if the knot is anywhere near your toe or near your shoulder, it's actually a plus, not a negative. But many people look at that as going, oh, that's harder. It's a harder area of wood, it's not going to perform as well. And then, as long as it is near a toe or a shoulder, you could say to that customer, how well performing do you really want your toe or your shoulder? Because it's around the middle of the bat, right? In that regard. But it's definitely something we see a lot of our players become less and less fussy about now. It's more around the performance of the willow and obviously the size of the willow. So there was a period of time back in 2015, 2014, before there were obviously bat gauges. And there was a time where Guppy was going through our big kahuna bats. So when they first came in, it was around 100 to go through. He went through and it was grade 4 wood at the time. And he was using them as training bats because he's found he's one of the biggest batters possible around that kind of 210, 211 weight. And he had a couple of beauties. So it just goes to show that is an international cricketer using a grade 4 bat. You can, sometimes bats are downgraded purely for cosmetics rather than performance.
Yeah, I do know that when we have batters come in, we do have a lot of them looking at the bats and they'll see, like you said, the knots and the blemishes and whatnot. And obviously that has nothing to do with the quality, but it does get downgraded, but it's just cosmetic.
Yeah, a lot of it is cosmetic. Obviously, if you do have a knot in the middle of the face, it will be a lower grade bat because it is an area of less performance. But in general, you can liken it to a used car. It's important what it looks like. Whereas, and performance is paramount, but they are the same level of performance and what it looks like. And obviously, as you go down, the cosmetic goes down.
We have so many people that'll come in with the bat and they'll just start going like this, and then they'll ask, "Oh, can we have the ball and throw it?" I'm like, "No, you can't. You can't do that."
So from a mallet perspective, and if you hit it with a mallet, you will be able to tell if you have an innate kind of feeling how well a bat's pinging, what it sounds like. Is it harder wood? Perhaps it's low density cleft or whatever it may be. From a finger clicking perspective, obviously wood is a fibrous material, right? So when you're hitting it with a mallet, the fibers compressing and coming out again, so you feel that rebound. From flicking with your nail, I'm yet to see how you are gauging those fibers moving and how they're rebounding.
Right.
Hell of a skill set. But yeah, I don't know how much weight you could really put into it personally.
Would there not be a difference between obviously a knocked in bat and a not
Yes,
knocked in bat?
how the bat has been pressed.
Yeah. So like, I don't believe Kookaburra comes pre-knocked in, do they?
No, we don't.
So obviously the customers that come in and click in it won't do as much as say if we were to knock it in ourselves.
Yeah, potentially because they will change the
compression,
itself. But obviously the preparation of Kookaburra and obviously the job you guys do here is incredible, and it is so important to not just the longevity of the bat, but also the performance as well, and how well it is, because it is a natural material, how well it's prepared. So actually going to a specialist like yourselves and having it professionally done makes all the difference. You know, it's like buying a Ferrari and then taking it to, I don't know, getting tyres off Facebook Marketplace. You know, it doesn't quite work. We liken it for Ty to buying a top-end racket and then getting it restrung yourself. You know, it's only as good as how you prepare it.
100%.